Fluent Talk Podcast.
From Say and Learn.
Ever wish you could speak English more fluently? Well, today we're going to dive into a really powerful technique from the Fluent Talk Podcast that's designed to do exactly that. Let's get right into it. Does this sound familiar? You know all the words, you get the grammar, but when you actually go to speak, the sentences just kind of stop and start. It's a super common hurdle, but today we're going to learn how to leap right over it. And here's the thing. This is the real challenge, right? Knowing English in your head isn't the same as actually speaking it. There's this gap between the theory and just talking, the natural, confident way you want to communicate. This slide just captures that feeling perfectly. On the left, you've got that internal struggle, translating word by word. But on the right, that's the goal, a smooth, continuous flow. That's what we're aiming for, and believe it or not, there's a specific technique that bridges that gap. So how do we get that flow? The solution, which hosts Tom and Sophie talk about, is this incredible method called shadowing. Seriously, think of it as your direct path to speaking with a more natural rhythm and, honestly, a lot more confidence.
So what exactly is shadowing? It's actually super simple. You listen to a native speaker and you repeat what they say almost immediately. The key here is you're not just copying words, you're mimicking the music, the rhythm, the intonation, the whole vibe of the language.
As Sophie from the podcast puts it, it's all about action. You listen and you repeat every single sentence out loud. You're not just a passive listener here, you're an active participant, literally training your mouth and your brain to sound more natural. So it really just boils down to 3 easy steps. First, you listen carefully to a sentence. Second, you repeat it out loud. This part is absolutely crucial. And third, as you keep doing this, you'll naturally start to build that smooth, conversational flow we've been talking about. Okay, enough theory. The absolute best way to understand shadowing is to just do it. So, we're going to practice describing a full day in English using sentences straight from the Fluent Talk podcast. You ready to give it a try? We're going to break the day into 3 simple parts: the morning routine, a typical day at the office, and then winding down in the evening. For every sentence you see, I'll say it, and then I want you to repeat it right after me. Let's start with the morning. Okay, ready? I'll say the sentence, and you repeat it in the pause. Here we go. I wake up early every morning. All right, next one. I make my bed neatly.
And another one, I brush my teeth.
Great. Now, let's imagine we're at the office. Ready? I greet my coworkers with a smile. Let's keep it going. I make a list of today's tasks. And here's a really common one for work. I share my ideas with the team. Finally, let's practice a few sentences for the evening. Repeat after me. I get home and take off my shoes. Here's one for connecting with family or friends. I talk about my day with them. And to end the day, I fall asleep quickly. Excellent job! You just shadowed an entire day, from morning all the way to night. So why does this simple little exercise work so well? Let's dig into the real magic behind shadowing, because it's about so much more than just memorizing a few phrases. Tom from the podcast really hit the nail on the head here. The goal isn't to be perfect, not at all. It's about getting comfortable with the rhythm of the language, which is exactly what builds your confidence and creates that natural flow. So what are the biggest benefits? Well, as you speak, you're building muscle memory. You're mastering pronunciation and intonation without even thinking about it. With every sentence, your confidence just grows. And then the ultimate payoff. You stop translating in your head and you just start thinking in English.
Okay, so now you have the tool and you understand the why behind it. The next step? Well, that belongs to you. This technique is all about active participation.
And remember, this last piece of advice from the hosts, consistency is everything. Seriously, the more you practice shadowing, even if it's just for a few minutes a day, the more natural and automatic your speech is going to become. So I'll leave you with this one question to get you started. And don't just think about it, say it out loud right now. What will your first sentence be?